Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Viva La Cats. I'm your host, Justin Hiles, accompanied by my great friend, Steve Maurer, and we are here this week with none other than Cap from the Roll Blob Pod. This is about time. It's time for the Crosstown Crossover. I believe this is probably the fifth time we've done this, at least the fourth, if not the fifth.
I think it's four.
It might be four.
Well, because we started when both Millers were starting their first year. So
let's see, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
When did
it's 25.
It's like four Bearcat losses or something like that. I think it's been four Bearcat losses since we.
Cap, was it the first time that Sean Miller left you guys, or was it the second time that Sean Miller left you guys?
Before we get started, I gotta.
Yeah.
Should have done that before we started. Let's go.
We're going down.
It's just been a busy day. I just got back. I just bought some property up in the eastern part of Michigan. It's beautiful up there. Just got some new property, closed the deal. So I'm in a great place, fellas. I'm in a great place.
Let's just make it even. Let's just call it out. I mean, I've seen a bunch of you guys drinking this beer every now and then, so I might as well join you.
What's funny is I'm actually drinking a Mickey Zero, so giving your listeners some ammo about this guy. You can just say I had a pizza ATM.
What, you can't find Muskie Lager in stores anywhere?
I don't drink anymore, bro. For real.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I'm trying to bug them to make some zeros for me.
Okay, there you go. Good for you, man. We love a reform man,
Yeah, I'm a vegan, and no, I'm just kidding. I'm not a vegan. I'm just trying to make myself out to be the enemy for you guys' listeners. But what's up, boys?
I don't think you have to do that. I think you already are. Yeah, I think
I'm just interested to hear. I'm just doing a wellness check for you guys real quick because we were talking about this before we jumped on, but it was just like, holy hell, the turntables. Like, I came into the season after Santa Clara's come into town and just whoops my ass. And I'm just like, okay, we're going to be the worst team in any power conference, hands down. It's going to be the worst season in 40 years. And then you guys just steal my chain. I mean, what the hell happened, boys? What's going on over there? Are we okay?
So here's the thing. We're at a crossroads right now, okay? We're at a very important crossroads where football has completely gone to shit, and basketball has just done the unthinkable at the same time. So the fan base is in like an utter collapsing point right now. Obviously, it's just a full-on meltdown, chaos every week. But we're making do. We're making do.
Which is fair. I mean, luckily, like John Cunningham, friend of the family, just making great decision after great decision. I just could not be. You guys have the right guys steering the ship. No, but for real though, man. Like I saw the pictures from Fifth Third the other night.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's what it should be. I mean, it's so bad. And like I've, been getting some shit from UC fans, and it's all in good fun on my side, but like, yeah, they should be pissed off. And I'm interested in your guys' perspective on like, what's the move as a UC fan in that situation?
Well, so, we've been talking about it, and like, honestly, I've been trying to poke our own fan base up for this week. Like, I mean, I don't care. Like, we should still talk shit. It's still rivalry week. It's like we've crossed out. Like, this is literally what the shootout is built on. And I know both teams are like not where we were, saying like 2017 or 2019, there's been different phases of this rivalry where like both teams have been really good, or like one team has been really good and the other team has just been like trying to come get them. But it's weird for us because it just feels like apathy is honestly starting to set in, which is sad because, as someone who's loved Bearcat basketball and still probably considers myself a little bit more of a basketball fan than a football fan, even though I work for the football team and everything, I love Bearcat basketball, man. And just, it makes me sad that seeing that crowd, like you said, and seeing just what it's become. And it's been, we're going to go on 7 years this year. If we don't make the tournament this year, it'll be 7 years without making the tournament, which is just like crazy to think about, like going back and telling myself a decade ago that we're going to have this drought. And we've got our old coach, going on press conferences and saying he feels bad that he left us in the lurch, and like, he's like, I respect UCLA just this much because I left my own school.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
The gift that keeps on giving.
God. Nothing like getting a pity party from your ex.
I miss him so much.
He was a really good guy.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is like people are like, just completely forgetting everything that they were mad at him about at the end of his time here, and they're like, "Oh man, I want him back." And I've been the only one who's been like, "No, you guys know." Like, someone called me just an idiot for even saying no to that. I'm like, dude, are we just gonna have collective amnesia and just forget everything we were feeling after that another loss?
So, for the record, I would love it. I'm on board if you guys need any co-signers.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
and
you know, if Marcus
whole-
wants to break some news later this year, I'm sure he could.
I might get in his ear about it.
Yeah. the thing for me too with the whole like Mick conversation that's happened a lot lately is, again, a lot of people have forgot about all of the pressure that was on him when he was leaving. But I mean, he wasn't exactly tearing it up in the postseason either. Obviously, Wes has not been great. We have not really got any of that figured out, but it's kind of like this thing is like,
You're in the
all right,
Crown last
well,
year. What are you talking about? The premier,
The historic college basketball crown.
the premier Fox basketball event of the
Sorry.
April
Put some respect. Put some
week.
respect.
You know, but
Yeah.
yeah, what exactly what Justin was saying though. It just I feel like people in both sports, honestly, like I think fans have definitely like seen a lot of good over the last 10, 15, 20 years from both sports. And I think joining like the new conference was great for us, but I think
Huge.
You know,
you finally got to use those Big 12 banners that got printed in like 2010.
Exactly. Yeah, they finally they get used.
Not wrong, just early. Not wrong, just early.
Exactly.
You guys got to borrow our Big East ones.
Exactly. The old Big East, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's
Back in
true.
the old Big East one more time. I'm gonna freak
We
out.
were still in the new Big East when we started this.
I'm a big Big East football guy, though.
Yeah. It's rocking and rolling, undefeated since 2013. You know,
Colorado State, you sons of bitches.
It's been a vibe. Yeah. So
The undefeated streak is not as long as Xavier's, though.
You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that.
Yeah. But I don't know, Cap. It's just like it's weird because, you know, and I want to ask about you guys now. So I think when we started the season, it was kind of a similar, it was kind of a one last ride, hopeful vibe, because obviously the goal for Wes Miller this year is he's on the hot seat. He's got to make the tournament. And he started the season this far with the worst offensive rating in KenPom in school history. Not great. I would
so unlike UC too. That's weird.
I know, shocking. You know, right? I would have advised him to not do that. Even in the
offense, it's that easy, boys. I mean,
what's a rock fight? We don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. But
gritty.
I mean, so you know, just doing my usual research, and like Rick was talking this year, or earlier this year on Mo's radio show with Chad about how, you know, he only saw like 11 or 12 wins on the schedule for Xavier. And obviously like the first 4 games did not start out the way you guys wanted to at all. Like Kenny I was one of the live watchers of the post-game show of Santa Clara, and Kenny was talking about like how we got to not be letting guys just hang on the rim and get mad and get angry. And
you loved that.
There was a whole existential crisis, and I was really enjoying it. And I'm sure you guys would have been the same way for us.
I love a good hate watch. Who doesn't?
Of course.
But part of the culture. Yeah.
So what has kind of righted the ship for Xavier over the past couple weeks?
Frankly, it's been shocking, brother. I mean, like, obviously here's what was funny is we started off the season 2-0. We beat one of the worst teams in D1, Lemoyne, by 5 points, and really almost gave that game away, which would have been EMU on steroids. So I remember that was on a Friday. We had a game on Monday, and I knew Santa Clara was good. I didn't know they were quite this good, but I thought they were like a top 80-ish team, top 90-ish team. And I did not think we were a top 80-ish team or top 90-ish team at the time. I was like, we beat 340 Lemoyne barely. Like, we did everything but give them the game. So I remember talking to Coop and being like, man, have fun this weekend because the music's going to stop fast. And when it does, it's going to get ugly. And I remember like seeing all the projections after we just got boat raced by. And I think the thing that makes it the worst is it's like if there's a different jersey that instead of Santa Clara, if it says Vanderbilt, it doesn't hurt as bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's just, I'm sorry, Santa Clara, it sounds like shit. You know what I mean? Like no one.
You don't respect Steve Nash?
Shout out Steve Nash. Like no one respects Santa Clara. I'm just gonna be honest. So after that, I mean, we were down 30 points. It was the worst home game I'd ever been to. Ever. It was probably the worst home game at Cintas in ever. You know, maybe one of the worst Xavier home games in 30 years. So it was ugly, and we had looked bad before that too. So I thought it was over. But I got to give Patino some credit. I mean, I think it's just confidence. That's what's kind of wild in basketball is the same player can just look like a shell of himself or look phenomenal based on confidence. I saw it with Trayvon Blewett. Like, there'd be games where I'm like, where the fuck is Trey? And then there's just games where he's, you know, in fifth, third, just dropping 40. So confidence can have a huge impact on a D1 athlete. And I think that's what we've gotten. We've seen a couple guys step into their roles, and Patino brought a couple guys over from New Mexico, and I think they've been kind of hitting the ground running, and they've developed quicker than I think the rest of our guys. So you've seen that. And then, you know, I think we have something that UC doesn't have in some shot making, which isn't hurting the equation for us. But the turnaround was frankly insane because my projection, and I'm going to shut up in a second, my projection was that we were bona fide last in the Big East, probably going to win about 8 games after the Santa Clara game. And now I'd say looking at like 9th, maybe like a 15, 16-ish win team, maybe.
That's fair.
That's what Bart Torvik's got. Bart Torvik's got 15 and 16 for Xavier and 16 and 15 for Cincinnati. So, the battle of the mid, right coming up on
battle
Friday
of mid
night.
for sure.
Also, being on a side note, being on a Friday night too is just like it's a Friday night on TNT, which I do respect, because last year on ESPN Plus, I was looking at the tweets from last year, and the ESPN Plus was just glitching out during the game, which was great. Hey, by the way, welcome to the ESPN Plus family. I'm happy to have you guys. We can finally agree on something that we hate. ESPN.
You get to watch shitty television now.
Well, hey, Paul Fritzcher's on the call, baby. No.
We're not talking about. We're just talking about the actual quality of visual. It's terrible.
I was watching a football game, and literally the camera was on the wrong side of the field. Jesus Christ! I need a refund, bro. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's about right for it.
But that's the thing I think that we both feel this way is iron sharpens iron. I think that was what has been great about this rivalry, and it does kind of bum me out to see us get pushed to effing ESPN Plus. This should be a mainline ESPN game every season, or whatever, main Fox, whatever you want to call it. So I do think both programs, and I don't know what Xavier's going to be under Richard Pitino. I think this is a honeymoon season for Richard Pitino. So we went, even if this season had been complete shit show, which it looked like it was going to be, I think we were all just all right, this season's a season. He had to turn over an entire roster. So I don't know what we're going to be under him, but we need both programs to be top 25-ish teams.
Yeah.
Going forward. So it's an interesting place.
Yeah, I just remember the height. I think I've told you this story before, Capita. The height was that 2017 game at Cintas. I think Mick yelled at people. There was a skirmish with JP in that one. But specifically for me, I was at the game, and then I went to Dana Gardens after the game with a buddy, and I had a Xavier girl come up to me, be you guys couldn't even cover the fucking spread, dude. You guys suck. And that was just the peak to me. That one, she knew what the spread was. Two, obviously knew that you guys beat us by that much, and three, while I was the dumbass wearing UC gear and a Xavier bar, and you guys, it's not like we're trying to it's not like English soccer or anything where we're trying to kill each other, but it's hot. I knew what I was doing. It was a hostile environment.
Bold move. I respect the move though,
especially after a loss too. I was kind of expecting it, but yeah, that's something that I love about this rivalry, and I think the thing that I'm interested in this year from your side is that, our fans definitely just don't seem as interested this year right now. And I've been kind of wondering if you've seen that just from your guys' side, is that if you're trying to poke the bear and there's no bear responding right now, which sucks, because I feel no matter what the record is, you can still just respond with something at least.
Yeah,
but I feel it's not there right now.
I'm interested in your guys' take too, because I don't think it's terrible, but it doesn't have the same juice that it used to have, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's NIL. I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know if it's, I think also there's part of it too where you've just lost this freshman to senior development that we've had, and it's you would have this climactic rise of you watch a freshman develop into a senior, and it's now you turn over an entire roster. Mm-hmm. So it's it's kind of hard for fans to kind of continue to engage in these guys, and it feels I don't know about you guys, but it feels to me everyone's kind of on a 1-year contract. So it's just, I think some of the romanticism of college basketball has been quote unquote lost to some people. But yeah, I am seeing it, and maybe it's not it went from 100 to 0, but maybe it went from 100 to 60, 7, I guess, something like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things too. You mentioned the whole NIL side of it. I think now that the transfer portal is so active, and of course Xavier having the turnover that they did, Cincinnati having the turnover that they did a few years ago, it just kind of stunted, I think, the rivalry, kind of just in a weird void that we've kind of been in for a bit. Of course, the Bearcats still do have a few guys on roster that know about it. Xavier has a few guys that have seen it but haven't played in it.
Yep.
But that's what you've got. I don't think there's a single Xavier player that has actually been in this game, played in this game. And I think the only one that's played for us was Day-Day. And the only other guy that's returning that could have played would have been McKinley, but he was injured last year. So you couldn't even add him right.
Halvine Zella erasure. Come on.
Sorry, Halvine.
I was going through old footage, and you guys obviously remember the brawl. I was watching the freshman year of Yancey and Kenny, and they fucking headbutt each other as freshmen. So the seed was planted years ahead of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So there's just less of that, and I think it's just, I think players also kind of see it more professionally. You know, I don't think there is as much of like this is my school, this is my community, and maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And who am I to say?
I mean, this is an important thing though too, because you mentioned Kenny and Yancey. Like, I remember when Kenny was on our show, I believe it was either last year or the year before. He had mentioned like he had grew up playing against Yancey in a few different games, like in Cincinnati, like as a local thing. Like these are local guys playing in a local rivalry against people that they hate, against teams that they hate, with coaches that are also both locals that hated each other. Like that Mick and Mac era was absolutely the peak of all of this. Because
that's the other thing too, is that
everybody involved understood it. Everybody.
Well, I watched them with Wes Miller at Big 12 Media Days before the season. He's like, well, I like Richard, but now I'm not supposed to like him anymore. And like, it's completely fine. Human interaction, completely normal. But how many years did the Xavier and UC head coach absolutely despise each other? Like Pete Gillen and Bob Huggins, for example. Like
I was listening to the post-game. I was listening to post-game pressers and just Mac just dropping. He's just like, we got our asses kicked. I mean, like, that's just what I remember. Like, I mean, guys that are from there, brother, like they were both identifying with the school. And I think this is a rivalry that's been, you know, formed by head coaches. I mean, you had Huggins versus both guys, Prosser and Gillen, and those just that fueled it, you know. But like right now, I mean, I was at media availability today at Cintas, and frankly, Patino's presser sucked. He was just like, you know what, we're just preparing. Like, just I'm like, what are we talking about? This is a shootout. So it's like, it's definitely strange, and I understand it if you've never been a part of it. But it is weird. Like you'd have never heard that under Mac or Miller.
Here's the thing I'm curious of. Do you think that for both of you guys, do you think that maybe both of the coaches are not downplaying it, but are trying to not like openly talk shit about anything, or trying to like poke the bear right now because Patino's coming into a fresh thing where the roster isn't looking good, right? Or not the roster. The performance thus far hasn't been optimal. Things haven't been going great. You are improving. You're looking better, but it's a big game. He knows that. It's the first year. And then Wes, like, he knows what happens if he loses this game. Like, he knows where he's at currently in standing. So, like, I feel like both of these guys are probably just trying to be like, you know what? It's an important game. Everybody's excited about it. But if I lose, don't point at me.
That might be a smart move, because it's like the last thing you want to do is do the mixed stuff of like, oh yeah, Enos Kanter's brother, or just making an ass of yourself every single year. Like, I'm just like, dude, like, shut the fuck up. Like,
well, and then before the game too, the crazy part for UC fans during the Mick era was that he would just be like, you know, downplay it. He would just be like, and obviously like the Xavier, the coaches, it felt like for a while there, like the Xavier staff, coaches and players all like fed more into it than Mick did. And obviously then that means the players don't feed into it as much. And like, I mean, it's kind of why we're on this streak right now, is because like we, you know, I think Huggins lost like these last two games at Cintas, and then Mick obviously never won a game at Cintas. And it's just like, to me, it's just like, I can't even fathom thinking about losing again, which is very much on the table for sure. Like Bartorvik has this game as like a 1.5 point spread.
It's so close.
It's so like close. Right on the line. And like, to be honest, like I think we all know Wes is on the hot seat, and like it does not help his seat anymore.
I think he knows.
Yeah, but to me, but exactly. But to me, like that would make for me, that would make me be like, well, you know, I got nothing to lose other than my job. Like I'm on like the edge right now. Like, why isn't he like going out there and like saying something stupid, you know? And like, I think you guys are right about, you know, transfer portal and everything, but I think it, like just in general, like I think the intensity would be much higher if both teams were good again. Like I do think that, I mean, obviously like transferring was a thing, you know, before, and like guys learned about it, and there is a little bit less of people staying all 4 years and stuff, but it just takes a while to like be around the fans to like really get into it. And I know that's kind of the nature and stuff, but I really think the core problem is that like both of us, like, you know, credit to Xavier, they've been to a couple tournaments, obviously more than we have in recent past, but I just like, I think that fire from at least our side, and maybe like a little bit from your guys' side, like just knowing that both of our teams are kind of in like a limbo state right now.
Yeah.
And like the thing that worries me, Cap, is that just going into this game, like it's just the same formula that it is every time for the past 10 years at Cintas.
It feels the exact same. It just feels like a different iteration of it. And I just feel like there's going to be some random Xavier guy who hits a bunch of threes.
Yeah.
And UC fans are going to be pissed off about it. And we're just like, UC's not going to score. It's going to be close. This is just how I feel it's going to play out. It's going to be close game. And then we hit a couple threes, win by about 9, make some free throws, go home. That's
or
like.
You'll be leading by 9 for like the entire last 10 minutes. And then we'll come back, make it like a 4-point game. But because you guys were in the bonus, we're screwed and we can't get back in. And when we do get to the line, we're not going to make the free throws. So it won't be a game. And again, like this is the thing that I think everybody kind of understands with this rivalry is it obviously has been out of balance for a while. And I think for the Bearcats side of it, I don't want to make it seem like it's a Mayday situation, but
want to know in our last one, Justin. I mean, like I think that's perfectly in balance.
Yeah, that was
that's fair.
What the funniest thing I've ever heard was like a UC fan was like on Twitter, like, you guys are talking about 2022? Get the fuck out of here. I'm like, okay, 3 years ago. Shout out 1960, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
One of my favorite ones was after the Santa Clara loss. It was some like nameless Xavier guy who was like, XU was 18-6 in the shootout pre-NIL. And I was like, well, NIL's been around like for like 3 years. So before, I mean, if we want to do the full math,
that was a tough cutoff.
Is he doing like Cintas math or something? Like, because if we want to do the full, I love tweeting that because it was like, and they say we talk about the past too much. Like that.
I just love the cesspool that's Twitter, brother. Like I love just like waking up. Like if I ever wake up at 2 a.m. and just see some unhinged shit, like I'll just load up Twitter, like just kill yourself. I'm like, oh, that's like good times, man. Like, I think with all of us, and that's what I love about our thing is like, I fucking hate UC. You guys fucking hate Xavier, as you fucking should. But the way I see it is like two sides of the same coin. It's like you guys are what I would be if I was a UC fan. I'd be doing the exact same shit, and I fucking get it. You know what I mean? Like, but I love that we can talk shit to each other, do the bullshit. But at the end of the day, it's a fucking game. Like if I went, if you were at Dana's, like, I'd fucking clown you, but like not actually, not in like a dick way, just like in a fuck you kind of way,
We're still all from the same city, mostly. I know you guys get a little bit more on Jesuit like out of towners than we do,
Bro, I ain't come to play religion, bro. That's one of the only things I don't fuck with.
But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. I think this is going to be a weird year for it, but Friday, I'm gonna wake up and my mindset, like Cap. If you didn't know, I moved.
Are you
back.
excited? Like, what's gonna be your Friday routine?
Well, so I moved back now, so I'm just gonna work. Like I wake up Eastern time, ready to roll. Start just like spamming the tweets all day, and then I'm going to. Well, apparently we gave up our allotment of tickets, which is like annoying to me. So I had Brendel explain to me, and then I took down the tweet because
you tell him I said rent free, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so he was like, oh, well, their allotment was up in like the top rows and it was going for cheaper on secondary but I was like, to me, it just doesn't like, I've been criticizing UC's like department a lot. And like, that's just another move where it's like, what? Like
that makes zero sense. And that's one of the things that's given me more confidence is like, I feel like over the last 2 weeks, it's just been a steep drop in just like UC fan, whatever you want to call it, investment. Yeah. And I feel like it's going to be as pro Xavier a shootout crowd as you could possibly have. Because like we've been on the come up, because that's the thing I saw with us. Like we almost lost the game after the Santa Clara game was awful. Yeah, absolutely awful. And so I get it. It's been this weird, kind of one's been up while the other's been down kind of deal, but it's going to be nuts, man. And I think for us, I think it's a powder keg because Wes Miller knows. I think he has to have the shootout and the tournament to stay alive. At least the tournament, but this is a huge piece. If he loses this, it's going to fast track this thing, I think. So he has to have it and all that kind of stuff. So, and I don't know who you guys even are. Like, I watched the Louisville game. I was like, fuck. Like, I remember being like, that's not good for us, especially when we were looking like dog shit. So it's like, sorry, I feel like I'm cussing a lot. I am a sailor.
No. Well, so here's what I was going to ask you real quick before we get out. So, so I think what UC is going to try and do is obviously play their defensive game and try to, just hold Xavier off of those threes and have to beat them inside, which I know Xavier is not like the greatest post team, but I was listening to Paul on Rebound Rundown, and one of the Xavier fans was talking about how UC has post presence, but we don't use our post presence. We shoot too many threes and we brick most of them. So do you think that's kind of, are you kind of in line with that? Like if UC decides to like just start attacking the paint and attacking the rim more? Is that kind of where Xavier might come into trouble?
Yeah, we have no inside presence whatsoever, like none. Like, so that's what's going to be wild because, like, I could see this going one of two ways. I think it's going to be really volatile. Like, I could kind of see UC kind of get, and that's the thing. If we don't hit shots, we're screwed. I've never seen a Xavier team more dependent on the three in my entire life. Like, if we don't hit shots, we suck. Flat out. Like, we have no inside presence. We have no post game, nothing. We have only a few guys that can get in the paint. They don't do it consistently. It's just not a game that we have yet. But we can hit threes, and we have pretty consistently, which I think is going to be pretty fun if just kind of on brand. But, like, that's what I kind of see, though, because I feel like UC really needs this one. But who the hell are you guys? Like, is it the team against Tarleton or EMU or the team against Louisville? Like, I have no idea. Like, you guys have played like a top 15 team and like a sub 200 team at different times.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, it's just like you have the Wes Miller stuff. So he's going to come out swinging. And I just don't know who the fuck this UC team is. And then if we hit threes, we suck. So there's just a lot of, I mean, it could go either way by 15 points, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, the door is wide open here for both teams. And I think that's kind of the interesting thing I think from my perspective, it's going to be tough for this team based on the way they've played offensively to, I think, kind of just find a way to get in rhythm in this type of atmosphere. Because if you look across the schedule thus far, like, what's their real test compared to something like Cintas for an away environment when your offense is already so lackluster? Like, it's hard. It is hard to get going in that building. It's hard to get it up. Cap knows. Like, you have to figure out a way.
Hey,
you have to figure out a way.
Speak for yourself, my guy. Speak for yourself.
Cap sees one Rambo gif and he's going.
Yeah, I mean, just
wet, baby.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
Well, shit, man.
It's hard to figure that stuff out.
Jumbotron, boys. We are up.
Yeah. But
it's hard
vibes are rolling.
And so I think for this game, like, they just have to find a way to be able to shoot the ball. And if they can do that, they've got a game. If not, exactly like Cap said, this thing could blow open by 15 points. I have one final question before we get out, because we know you got to go to your next stop. Please give us the most quick but in-depth explanation. What was the president's tweet about?
Dude, I have no idea, boys. So, like, I'm being dead honest. Like, I really think that it was just a mistake. So I think what had happened was, have you ever been on someone's Twitter account and you go to tweet, but it just like ats them on accident? You have to back out of it. I think she did that, but didn't back out of it. So, like, I think it was accidental, but you also got slipping in 4K looking at my shit. But dude, so random, bro. Like, clearly you were spying on me, but I don't think she meant to tweet at me. But she did play it off pretty well, hit the roll blob gif, which, like, she's not super popular. So, I think she was trying. I think she was using me to get her popularity back up, if I'm being honest with you.
That's what we're using you for.
That's what I'm here for. I think she was like, let me use the degenerate to my advantage. Like, my pub is not looking super good. Let me tap into the freaking maniacs, and that'll get me back in the good graces.
Well, there you go. That's perfect.
Gotta get a little
that was wild, though. That was wild. Wait, the UC president doesn't tweet at you guys?
No.
I don't know if the UC president even has Twitter, to be honest. So no.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But guys, it is going to be fun. I appreciate talking to you guys as always. I hope that you guys are having an awful Friday. But other than that, it is really good talking to you guys. Honestly, you guys do a great job. And shout out to the people at home. I hope I made it hateable enough for you.
Yeah.
You as well, Cap. I hope anybody who comes over and listens to us hates us just as much. So,
my God.
Oh, the subtleties. All right, man. We'll take it easy. Again, appreciate having you on, and we'll chat after this thing goes down on Friday.
Yeah.
People, find him at Rollblob Pod.
Let's go.
CapX34. You already know him.
I'm going to rip your jersey off.
Yeah. And then what?
Something about Benadryl. I don't know.
All right, see you, man. Steve, that was the good old boy, Mr. Cap. As always, it's so much fun to have him on the show. Have any and all of the Rollblob Pod guys on the show. It's been a while, of course, because it's only once a year. Sorry. We should do it twice a year. Maybe we should find a way to do this for baseball. I know they don't really cover baseball, but we should make them cover a second sport.
Coop and Cap been covering baseball, so we could,
Okay.
Yeah.
I only listen during.
That's my problem too. Is that, like Coop was saying, I'm on Twitter too often, so I have seen them talk some Xavier baseball. So maybe if Justin happens to make the trip up, so by the way, everyone, I did kick him officially from the studio, so you don't have to listen to that man blabber on anymore. So We're ready to roll. Not
Steve,
roll blob. We're ready to roll cats, baby.
yeah, we're ready to kill some blobs. Steve, here's the thing. We've talked all of the stuff about the shootout, and we kind of joked around and danced around. I do want to talk about this for 2 to 3 minutes. Let's just pose the question. We have not recapped anything from the Tarleton State game. We did not recap anything from the Eastern Michigan game. We both know that the Eastern Michigan game was just flat out horrid. And quite honestly, as a program, no offense to Eastern Michigan, shout out the folks up there in that wonderful, lovely state. That program is not what this is. You cannot be bankrolling a over $10 million plus roster and lose to a team like Eastern Michigan. It's just not acceptable at this day and age. Like, everybody's going to have their issues here and there. You're going to slip up. I remember when UK lost to what? Evansville, something like that a few years ago. Like, it just came out of the blue. But when the season has the narrative that it does, and the situation is currently falling apart at the seams, you cannot have this type of game happen because, again, as we said when we were talking to Cap, I just think the writing's kind of on the wall for West right now. And I think everybody has wanted West to succeed. I don't think there's been a lot of people who just genuinely just don't like West. I think people want him to succeed. The problem is he has not been able to connect the wins year after year after year. And then when you have something like this happen, it kills all faith and it kills all momentum. And I think, again, like you said earlier, everybody's apathetic now. And I'm concerned that if they don't do what has felt and seemed and quite honestly been the impossible for the past 2 decades to win in Cintas, if you don't do that thing that nobody else has been doing for 20 years, it might just make this whole situation that much worse. And I feel for Wes in a way, but at the same time, it's like, you can't be losing that game with the talent that you have. There's no reason. I get that you didn't have Baba. I get that Celestine is injured. Things have not been going your way with Jalen Haynes, with that whole situation. And then on top of that, you don't have Jizzle that you expected to have in the offseason. You don't have him now. When you need that offensive kind of firepower and a little.
You don't have Jizzle for right now, at least.
For right now. The jury's out. We'll see.
Wink, wink.
But it's kind of one of those things that I think you look at all these different scenarios, and I struggle with this. When it comes to figuring out what's wrong with the Bearcats under Wes Miller, it's one of two things. There's some kind of excuse that we have to make, or there's just a flat out there's no reason. Like it's an excuse, or there's just nothing to back it up. But there's not really a whole lot of like, well, okay, they played their ass off and they were in it to the end and they just lost a really good game. Like, there's always kind of something that you can pick apart that you can say, this is the major issue. And I don't know how many times you can just have the excuses year after year before eventually you just got to say enough's enough.
Well, so here's the other thing, Justin, too, is that even if he wins this game, and he still doesn't make the tournament, he's done. It's like there is a lot riding on this game, and but a win doesn't really save him from that. There's still a lot riding on the season. You kind of have to win this game, and you have to win a lot more to get into the tournament. And when your projected record is 16-15 on a site, that's not going to get you in the tournament, brother. So I think the thing, Justin, and our semi-controversial fan survey of Wes from a couple of years ago was kind of holding true right now.
Yeah,
I think he's doing everything that you like, other than within the 40 minutes of basketball. And everything that goes along with the specific game itself. Now, let's look at his metrics this year. He's still got a top 10 defense. Cincinnati is number 4 on KenPom in defensive rating efficiency. But offense, 217. Like I said earlier, worst in program history on KenPom. Not good. Not what you want. And so the thing, Justin, is that with like we're pretty easy, you know, like you kind of just got to have at least some sort of plan. And it's seemingly evident that there is not really a set offense other than, you know, making a lot of passes and finding an open man, getting a three. And for whatever reason, Cincinnati players, whenever they put on this jersey, they cannot make threes other than Day, who's over 50% this year. But like, even like Kirk Creasum, a guy who's, you know, been known as a fairly good shooter, has been shooting about 29% this year. So I think the other thing, Justin, is that, you know, when I think of Cincinnati basketball, obviously there's been some great guards that have played here, but it's the big men to me that really define this program. You think about, you know, obviously Kenyon, you know, Jason Maxiel, Eric Hicks, Danny Fortson, you know, like some of those big guys that
Gary
have kind
Clark, Trey Scott,
of Gary Clark, yeah,
Kyle Washington.
of course, yeah,
Ox-
like all of those guys, and it just definitely does not feel like we're getting enough in the post from them and from Wes Miller's time. That I don't think any of those guys have really been what we've hoped for in a big man, and I think we were kind of hoping for that to return a little bit with the addition of Jalen Haynes, but you know, we know that's not really Mustafa Cham's game, and he's kind of, you know, able to be a little bit light, but I think on Friday, for example, I would love to see them like kind of get into Moo and just like really have him, you know, until he stops working, like just feed it to him, you know, just give him a chance to be effective. And if he kicks it out, finds an open man and he hits a shot, then that's even better. Like I would love to see that. But to me, Justin, it's those two things. Like it's the, you know, the offensive coaching, especially with the big men. And I think the other, and like, in just that during, in between the lines, within the 40 minutes of play, it just kind of falls apart, honestly. Like, you know, and like we just signed another great kid for next year for recruiting purposes. Like this is a very talented team. I don't know. I don't think 247 does it like a team talent composite for basketball like they do for football, but Cincinnati would probably rate pretty highly, like probably a top 50 or higher team. Like this is the Big 12. They're able to get athletes. I don't think that's the problem, Justin. And to me, I think the problem has just been like the lack of an offensive identity for all of these years now. Like there's no world where, I know it's Kansas, but Kansas is not, I wouldn't say they're known as like, you know, same as like Tony Bennett pack line defense, right? They're not really like known for having like a stalwart defense, but there should be no world where, as a Cincinnati basketball team, you only score 40 points in a conference game and lose, by the way, by 13. Like that's kind of like last January was kind of like the bottoming out point for the coach from an offensive standpoint. And so I think it's been that. It's really kind of been like that offense, and that they've not really been able to keep it all together throughout an entire season. Like how many times have we, like, I think all 4 seasons we've seen a Wes Miller team kind of just, you know, do something good in the non-conference. Not, this is honestly probably one of his worst non-conference runs, maybe 2021, but like this is one of his worst. And then
2021, he had Illinois, and he took Arkansas down to the edge.
But he lost to Monmouth, and then he lost to X. You know, like I do remember those. You know, but I remember damage. But it's just like I think that's it, Justin. Really, it's just I think people are just. I just think they're just tired of, you know, not seeing any offensive identity, and I think that was kind of the problem with, like, you know, losing a game like that to Eastern Michigan. Is I know Boba Miller was out, and apparently he's the straw that stirs our drink, because without him, like, we definitely looked even worse, and we kind of made Eastern Michigan look like the better team that night, and it was just like, it's year 5. I know teams lose in like bye games every now and then in college basketball, but like it's just. It like that probably shouldn't be happening. And I know we made jokes about Jamie Dixon earlier this year when TCU lost a bye game to New Orleans, who looks pretty good, by the way. But Jamie Dixon is a proven like NCAA tournament reaching type of coach, you know, right? Like he's able to get like that, you know, like, oh, you know, lose your first game of the season at home. It is what it is. Like Wes hasn't earned that reputation yet. And it's possible that he never will from this fan base, because honestly, like if we know the stakes, he's got to make the tournament, probably should win a game in the tournament if he wants to stay. And the way the season started, it's not looked like it. And I think that apathy is what has started. And so obviously, if you're able to kind of fix some of those things this week and go win that game on Friday against X, that does a lot to like kind of like bring fans in. But I think people need to see what happens in the Big 12 for them to feel at all confident, obviously, about this team getting any further. And the other thing too, Justin, I know we won by 18 on Monday night against Tarleton, but we gave up a 10-0 kill shot run to Tarleton after we went on a pretty lengthy run of our own in the second half. You probably shouldn't be doing that. And Tarleton was down its best shooter and best player as well, and you still kind of let that happen. It just does not bode well for an offense that's still number 4 in the country, or sorry, a defense that's still number 4 in the country in defensive rating efficiency on KenPom.com. It's just so frustrating that we've kind of just bottomed out in this way.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's the thing too. Is it's like you said. I mean, there's something every season, and that's I think just the core problem that will continue to persist. Unfortunately, if it doesn't work this year, it's a thing that persists as long as Wes Miller is the head coach of the Bearcats. I don't want him to fail. I don't think I've ever wanted Wes to fail. I don't want to watch the Bearcats lose so that Wes can get out of here any sooner. I think he's a great person, and I think he's a great leader, and I think he's a great organizer. But when it comes to the actual, like you said, between the whistles, it has not proven to be a hire that is going to take you to the next level. I said this with Joel last week, and I want to reiterate this because I think this, again, I really feel like this is an important distinction that unfortunately, because of the way the landscape has changed, because of the way the portal is, we've lost sight of this. You want to just get back to where you were with Mick. Quite honestly, you want to be able to just get back to making tournaments consistently, having a shot. Wes hasn't even got you that. The biggest problem is, are you even comfortable with that? Because we all remember, we said this earlier in the show, we remember what that was like. We still carry the scars of all of those first weekend exits, not even just first weekend, but first round exits, where you had a good team, everything looked up for you, and then you get into the tournament and then you just lose some horrible way. And so we all remember that. You're just trying to get back to that feeling. You're not even trying to go to the next level. And I think as a program who is investing money and who is trying to get back to that, and who has, quite honestly, I think for the majority of its time identified as a basketball program, of course, that's shifted a lot over the last 20 years. That's a whole different conversation. But I think for a program that still identifies with basketball as sort of like its core sport, you have to be able to put up a team that's going to make the tournament. You have to be able to put up a team that's reliable, that's consistent, that doesn't lose to teams like Eastern Michigan. And that when you see a Xavier or a Georgia or a Clemson on that, you're going 2-1. You might lose one of those. You expect to probably lose one of those, but you know that you're going to win a majority of them. You have to be able to do that. And I get that the shootout is a completely different game. It's always got its own thing. It doesn't matter what the record is. It doesn't matter how each team is performing. It's just a bloodbath, and it's a rock fight every single time. You look at the Clemson game, you look at the Georgia game, you look at the Xavier game that are left. The Bearcats, as it currently stands, are at 6-2. If you lose 2 more games, you're at 9-4 coming out of non-con. You have to go on a tear. You have to beat a Houston. You have to beat an Arizona. You have to beat like Texas Tech and Kansas and BYU. You have to beat those level of teams. You have to get those quad 1 wins if you want a shot. And again, if you go 9-4 and you go 500 in the Big 12, unless you're beating all of those teams, you might be screwed. Like the coffin nail might already be in if you are not comfortably at 10 wins coming out of non-conference. And I don't even know if 10 wins is going to do it for you, because Dayton's not going to be busting down any doors. The Louisville loss is already a loss. Xavier, Georgia, and Clemson. I don't know how much credit you're going to get for a Clemson win. We'll see what happens to Xavier, but you might not even get much from a Xavier win either, because it's on the road, but they might slip towards the end of the year. If they follow up what their projection is at like 15 or 16 wins, that's not going to be it's a great win for the program. It's a great win for the team. It's not necessarily going to be a great qualifying win for the tournament if they perform that way. So you have to be almost perfect going through the end of the rest of this season for West to stick around. And I don't know how it happens, man.
Yep. I mean, and honestly, like I do kind of wonder if, like, even if he makes the tournament, even if like, I kind of wonder if he like takes another job too, just because like it's just gotten like to a point where it's just like so toxic where he like can't, really feel like he can stay on longer and just tries to find another job somewhere in like the ACC or something. But I don't know. It's just, to me, it's going to be a little bit frustrating when, we get to that point and we don't reach our goals again. And I've kind of talked about this off air a little bit, but I'll talk about it right now, just on air a little bit too, just let's put it all out there real quick. And we're going to talk about football next. Same issue there. The program needs money right now. And so if any of you have money, please feel free to donate. But it's kind of like, well, if we're going to try and like, stay relevant in college sports as like, things continue to evolve, we probably need to invest more money continue investing like top dollar money into the football program. And I know obviously we want to be good in basketball, and we like, we're in the Big 12. We're not going to be able to like be a bottom tier team, but I do kind of wonder like if nothing changes this year, Justin, they keep Wes, keep everything rolling. He just, refreshes and reloads the team. Even if you get crowds like you saw for the Tarleton State game at tip off, like, even if there's like less buy-in, I do kind of wonder if they're just going to pivot and say, we need to win in football, so we're going to win in football right now. And I don't think that's a good idea, because this is a proud school that's won a lot in both sports, and hopefully eventually like you're able to get enough NIL where that it doesn't matter. But that's something that like just unfortunately enters my mind as we kind of enter the last little stretch here of our non-con slate before we really get into Big 12 play, is that if they go 19-12 this year, or like 18-13, but nothing changes, like it's kind of just without saying anything, they've told you like the direction they're going. So but we need money, man, and like I think it would be best for everyone if the coaching situation were just to end and we just move on. But it's just probably not going to be that way.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not probably. I'd say, what do you think, Justin? I know like it's like kind of half and half right now. It's probably not likely that we're going to fire the AD. Sorry, everybody who's been wondering that. But if his buyout is about like $9 million near the end of the season, and they need to fire him obviously like right after the conference tournament, they can't wait that long to get a new coach to get the portal open. Like, what's your percentage chance that they do it?
We're screwed either way, man. Like I said, it's kind of does suck, because I'm gonna pivot very fast and come back to this. I think the thing is, and I kind of want to ask a question at the same time. What's the thing that Wes has to do this season to just take care of all concern next season? And like if you win to this point, this is the thing where everybody's finally going to back off of you. I think realistically, you have to be top 4 in the Big 12, and you'd probably have to go to like an Elite 8 for everybody to just say, you know what? I'll shut my damn mouth.
Yep.
I'll shut up. You know what?
Yep.
You did it. We all doubted you, but you did it. And now you get the benefit of the doubt. But even then, you're going to get into mid to late November next year, and somebody is going to be sitting there. They're going to watch a game, get within 5 points of Mount St. Mary's, and you're going to be like, it's happening again, isn't it? Because I think we're just, like you said, I think we're kind of at that point of like a little bit, unfortunately, of toxicity where this fan base as a whole, I think just is so off the board and off the tracks with Wes Miller that I don't know how you realistically rebound in a healthy way for the program to move forward with him, but also for the fan base to actually ever feel satisfied. You have to win big. You have to win really big in order for him to be safe and for people to just finally shut up. And I don't know if they will. And again, that's if everything goes right. And we've seen everything so far. I don't really think that's going to happen. So if I were to put odds on it, I'd say it's still, unfortunately, like plus 300 for Wes to get fired at the end of the season. Whether or not this thing goes great or goes horribly, I agree. I think the program right now needs to focus on, unfortunately, you need to focus on money. We next year will be a full share of the Big 12, which is great, and getting some more revenue. But I am really, I agree. I mean, I think with the potential and all the conversation around realignment still right now, and that it might ramp up this offseason and maybe some more moves happen, I think you have to focus on football and you have to be in a good spot. And quite honestly, this might be a great time to transition this conversation to football because, damn it, they did it. The Bearcats started 7-1 and they finished 7-5, boys. I don't know how they did it, but they somehow managed to just fall apart for the second season in a row. I don't get it. The talent is there. Everything on the board says you should be able to go and win one of those Final Four games. I get that you had Utah, who's a great team. I get that you had BYU. That's a great team. You had TCU. I understand it. You got Arizona, who played their ass off. They finished with 5 straight wins. I get it. They're all good teams. But you can't win one of them? It's so frustrating that this is the ending that we have to this season because, again, like we've all said, it's everything is compounding right now. And then while this all happens, this program, like so many other Cincinnati sports, does nothing and sits on its hands while everybody else is making the big time moves. Imagine if everything went to shit and you found a way to say, all right, you know what? Screw it. Hey, James Franklin, I don't know. Maybe we could pay him some money and maybe he could come on over this way. We'll make a big move. Virginia Tech isn't all that much different than Cincinnati as far as scale, reach, program, all that when it comes to football. Like you're in a very similar ballpark there. I see stuff like that. You see all of the great G5 coaches that have been hired. You see with Hartline, with Ohio State getting hired. You see all these moves happen. And you just look down the barrel of the gun for next year. I don't know are we going to miss out and end up in a shitty coaching carousel when this thing probably inevitably falls off the wheels? I don't know, 8 or 9 months from now, 9 months from now, 10 months from now. Like, I don't know, man. I'm really lost at this point as to what you actually, where you make improvements, how this thing gets better. And I think you're going to lose a lot of talent. I think you probably lose Sorsby. And I don't know if you're going to have enough portal moves to plug and play and take advantage of the situation. And meanwhile, everybody else is just going to get better. I don't know, man. I hate to be so apathetic and I hate to be so cynical, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't have this finish. It's just it is an absolute coffin nail right now for this season, which actually had a lot of potential. Yep.
And so just real quick, so I'm updating our little SP Plus thing that we did a couple weeks ago with the most recent results. And so TCU, they fit right into our top 40 range at 39, and BYU is currently they are number 14 overall in SP Plus. So, Justin, in the past 2 years, it's been 20 games against Power 4 teams, and there's been a solid and there's been 10 games, against Power 4 teams that are top 40 overall on average. Last 2 games, we lose those to number 14 and number 39. What's our record now against top 40 overall averages? And I think I might have to make a little chart for this too. But I don't know if you remember what it was from 2 weeks ago, but they are now 1-9 against teams with a top 40 overall average on SP Plus, and obviously the one win was against Jeff Sims ASU, which didn't look bad this year, but last year was not great. So, and Justin, I think the thing in obviously we're coming to you recording on National Signing Day. Like Bearcats definitely had some like solid guys, like people that the staff likes, and I will say I do trust this staff. Like they have proven to go get some guys, but I think we're going to finish in like the 60s overall, which is obviously like a little bit different from the fickle days when like things were kind of like just like way better than they were, so it's just a little bit frustrating for sure. Our final ranking, Justin, I have to scroll down to the load more button to find the Cincinnati Bearcats. Do you have a guess? Oh, yep. I got it, but go ahead. Give me your guess.
62.
60. Right behind Kansas and right ahead of Texas State, Temple, and Duke, baby. So, not ideal for that.
Potential ACC champions, Duke.
That's true. 5-loss ACC champion Duke letting JMU in. And then hopefully we get 2 Big 12 teams in with BYU just do the right thing. Or Texas Tech just do the right thing and let BYU in. And then we get, a bid thief and make everyone else mad again. So, but Justin, I think the thing is that I think we clearly know that same thing here, that the coach is probably not the answer. And if it's looking like you're going to lose Brendan Sorsby on top of the guys you already knew you were going to lose just because it was their senior year, and the fact that the schedule next year looks rough, once again, it's hard right now, man. It's hard to see any positives with what's going on and how they ended. Should we do the records real quick, Justin? Let's do the records real quick. 1-11 in the month of November under Coach Scott Satterfield. 0-17, I believe it is now, when trailing at halftime. They scored 23 points in the third quarter of 9 Big 12 games. Not great either. And like I mentioned, 1-9 against teams with a top 40 overall or top 40 or better, SP Plus rating, and really a spiritual 0-9, a spiritual 0-9, and because with Sam Levitt, Arizona State and a kicker, Arizona State probably wins that game. So let's be honest, man, it's been a tough 2 years. So and now we pivot to 2026. How does it get better? One,
it does. One, it doesn't. No,
I'm retiring.
There's chance. We can't already write off 2026.
I'm retiring. People are saying, well, you don't have enough money to retire. What are you going to do? I'm just going
to kill myself.
But yeah, so obviously, it takes money, and it's, hopefully like we can improve, get more money in. We're able to get some more NIL money in on top of what is already being done in-house. It looks like we're not going to get any crumble cookie money because that's all going to BYU, but we're going to have to find a way.
Where's the P&G money at, man? Come on.
Yeah. Kroger money, everybody's got to come on down and pay up. I'm trying. I'm going to try and win the lottery. I'm trying to do my part, but I think that's going to be the one thing that is really going to help us compete, obviously. And I think the other thing too is that, I think eventually, same thing in football, man. People are definitely apathetic about the current staff and the current hiring. I don't think they're bad dudes either. Like same with Wes. Like I don't think any of the people that currently work for the University of Cincinnati are like bad people or anything. But,
and that's the hardest part, man. It was like you look at him, it's like actually like this guy. This seems like a guy that cares about the players.
Yeah,
and you don't want to come off as a dick. You don't want to be like trying to knock these guys off of their job and try to make them unemployed. Nobody wants to do that. But at the same time, I'm sorry, y'all are multi-millionaires. You're making some fat contracts.
Yep.
Sometimes rent comes due. That's the nature of the business. And I think people are more than welcome and fair to talk about it.
I think people are just naturally worried too about, what like what Cincinnati is going to look like, over the next 3, 5, 7 years, and in a proud like program. And like I said, like with Cap, like we've been lucky to be able to have like seen like really high performances from both of like our basketball and football teams over the past 20, 25 years. And I, it's unfortunately a Cincinnati thing, but I'm not going to just limit it to Cincinnati. It happens a lot, with fan bases when, you're not getting the level of, like when you're not getting what you want, people are naturally just going to, find something else to do or not support. I mean, like, we've seen it with the Reds for years. Like, if they're just going to be like kind of like a middling team, they're not really going to have attendance by June, July, August. It's kind of just is what it is. And like, luckily there's a lot of things to do in Cincinnati. Otherwise, other than what people would tell you, there's a lot of things to do in this area, and people are rather doing that than going to sports team, which is fine, And so you've got to kind of win those people over, Justin. And so what I think they need to do is, one, if Brendan does leave, find another quarterback, and obviously like restart like the offense, and hopefully that is able to help you. They should have most of their offensive line coming back, obviously, other than Gavin Gerhardt, who is exhausted his eligibility and is a senior this year. And, going to have Dante Corleone gone as well. A couple more names on both sides of the ball, but I'm hoping that, obviously you get a quarterback if Brendan does go, and you get, multiple defensive players too, as well, just to be able to shore up that defense, because contrary to what everybody says, we have seen the 3-3-5 work. It's just that I think we knew that the talent was not there this year. And so that was why the reason for the low blitz rate. And also it felt like the defenders were there and they just weren't able to like get their, get hands up right at the last second as the ball was coming in for a receiver. And that's why, we had a lot of different passing events. And also, when good air raid teams are able to get against us and find pockets in the zone like we did for multiple games this year, it's just going to hurt, and it's going to be that bend don't break. But I think I would like to also see a little bit more of an emphasis in being able to stop the run when obvious running downs calls for it, or being able to stop that at some point. And it was year 3 in the Big 12 this year. I saw a UCF fan today saying that we've been passed by both Houston and Cincinnati. So, hey, at least we're still above them. That's good. But I think it's either one of two things, Justin. Either we go, supernova next year and somehow, but the problem was, Justin, this was the year. This was the opportunity.
This was the year. We all knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think most people are probably just hoping that they bottom out again next year, and then we just, clean house, start all over again. Or, obviously, I think we're all going to hope that they can succeed and win big and, do like make the playoff again and like kind of like reignite this thing. But right now, I think we're kind of figuring out, like what is this program going to be over the next few years? Because if you think about it, Justin, like, we've definitely had some good years and bad years, but we're not like a powerhouse football program with tons of history and tons of like big success, right? Like we've had 4 like top of the mountain great seasons, in the past 15 years, which is what every program wants. 4 different New Year's Six games, like you win like 4 outright conference championships and like 2 other shares and stuff. Like that's take that in a heartbeat any day, right. But I think now that we're at this level and it's gone the way it's gone the first 3 years, it's going, and it's even harder now with NIL too, now that you have to continuously build your roster and get more money. And it's just, you're just kind of figuring out what you're going to be for the next few years right now. So,
yeah, well, and I think that's a strong point to make too. And that's, again, I think where a lot of my concern comes in is if for the most part that the money isn't really changing. And that's why I said this earlier, other guys are going to start putting more money in. I mean, Texas Tech is a fantastic example. And tangentially to the side, BYU's a fantastic example also in the Big 12. 2 different ways of maintaining a program. One, you just pour an absolute crap ton of money in to make the thing happen. And it works. It succeeds. All of that works. And then you have the other, flip side of the coin, which is, okay, our program could get blown up overnight because our coach could leave. But you know what? We're going to have some outside big bag donor come in, and he's going to pay the rest of that extension to make sure that we can keep the program in a healthy spot. I think you have some other programs around making big moves in the Big 12 that, again, and I guess this is where I struggle, Steve. BYU came in with us. Texas Tech, they weren't being looked at. It was Iowa State. It was Kansas State. It was Oklahoma State. It was all these other programs. Texas Tech was up there for sure, but all these other programs were being looked at after Texas and Oklahoma left as the ones that would take over the conference and step in, shoehorn right to that spot. And it's kind of flipped, man. These teams have gone in and actually, shook some stuff up. And that's where, again, I just struggle because there's no reason why you couldn't be one of those. And yet here we are meddling. And that's unfortunately the reality of the situation. Again, we could talk forever on this. We're already at an hour. I don't want to keep you. I don't want to keep everybody else who's already got their ears on it. But I do want to mention this. According to The Athletic, I'd have to check some other sources too, but we're going to use The Athletic for now. The Bearcats' current bowl projection, the Liberty Bowl, against none other than Memphis.
That's become like the Memphis Hawaii Bowl, like that.
It really
Memphis
has.
Memphis just goes to the.
Why would you leave Paradise?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Why
a
would you leave
coachless Memphis, by the way. So that'd be interesting. I also saw ECU at the Liberty Bowl too, which would be. I think that one guy from 2022 probably still hates Cincinnati. Like they hate us. Like so that would, and we don't really think about them at all. But obviously that's a conflict for my heart. But Justin, you interested in going down to Memphis on?
Dude,
January
it's a
2nd?
2-hour drive, 2.5. I'll take it every day of the week.
Pick me up at the airport, baby.
Yeah. Hey, no. Hey, book it. If we make the Liberty Bowl, I'm 100% going to go.
What day of the week is January 2nd? That is something I should probably know.
If I remember correctly, I think it's like a third, or it's a Friday.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is a Friday.
That's a deadline day for me at work. That's a big deadline day. But you know what? We'll work ahead. We can make it. We can make it happen to watch the 7-5 Bearcats go on down to Memphis to play.
7 p.m. Central kick. It'll be about like 35 degrees in the stadium, so better be layered up. It'll be fun.
See, but you know what happens, Steve? We can hang out this place before and we can hang out after. Where are we going, Steve?
Silky O'Sullivan's. I don't know. Where are you telling me?
We're hitting the street, baby.
Oh, yeah, Beale Street, baby. Yeah, of course.
We're hitting the street.
Maybe we'll see Greg Marshall again.
Maybe we'll run into Greg Marshall. Oh, God. What a callback. I still remember all those stories. Yep. Fantastic. But hey, again, this is where we're at. Bearcats.
I think we just need more money, man. I really think that's it.
They need money.
I think all the programs just need money. So if you win the Powerball and you happen to be a Bearcats fan, you'll win about what, 330, 340 after tax. Give us 40. We'll start there, and we'll level up. Or if you want to do the extra package to do 50, we clean house, get new people in immediately.
Hire the best possible option on top of that too.
Yeah, and let's make it a clean 100. We'll take a clean 100 of your Powerball winnings. So,
and then once you do that, the clean 100, like 97 of it will go to the athletic department, and then the other 1.5 and 1.5 will the 3 million. Those 1.5 million splits will go to myself and Steve.
Yeah,
for the recommendation,
exactly.
because we gave you such a good idea to go buy a Powerball.
We are your advisors. You must listen to us.
Yes, this is financial advice. I love how you listen to so many different shows about any little tidbit, and they're like, and this isn't financial advice, but I'm definitely telling you to do this.
I'm legally not allowed to give you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But what you should do.
But what you should do with your life savings is put it on the Bearcats to beat Xavier when they go to Norwood this week on Friday. You have to have it. It's the only option. You got to have it.
Wake up on Friday morning, and if we're an underdog, little money line sprinkle for Friday night action. Sounds good to me.
You know what? Put it on the Cats, baby.
Hammer.
You're gonna do it. We're gonna hammer the Cats on an alt spread. Give me Cats like, I don't know, by 50.
By 90.
Cats by 90.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, hey, I think we've won by 20 within the past like 10 years, so it is technically possible.
That 2018 game, that was a lot of fun. Myself and Mr. Don were there in standing room only in second
to watch
second
John Brannon's Bearcats. All right, that's
no, that was still Mick. That was.
Oh yeah,
last.
that's true. You're right. That is.
Yeah, that was still Mick, but that was his last home game at the shootout in the new shoe, by the way.
Yes. All right. Well, hopefully we made you. Hopefully, I'm not even gonna say I don't think we're making anybody feel better. Hopefully, we didn't make you feel worse, but hopefully, we made you feel comfortable. We made you feel like you can relate to somebody. Not everybody has another Bearcat in their ear that they get to talk to all the time. So hopefully we're your Bearcats that you get to talk to, that you get to listen to, kind of get some feedback. What do you think? I got this thing, like, I got to talk about Scott Satterfield. He's driving me nuts. I got to talk about him. We're here for you, man.
That's right. Well, and then real quick, one last thing. Let's think about the brighter side. You guys remember 2019, how much that Saturday where both games were happening at the same time and that stunk? Yeah. But now we don't have to worry about that because obviously we were eliminated from the Big 12 championship game a few weeks ago. But can you imagine how much more that would have hurt now that it's magnified? And it would have been across 2 days instead of at the same time. Just, on the brighter side, we can only get hurt once this weekend. And
that is true.
I hope we won't. I don't think we will. Honestly, Justin, I do think we can beat them, and I think we will. But, with the level of apathy that is around, it's like that makes me feel like a lone man on an island just because like everybody's like, oh, we're gonna lose, it's gonna be bad. And like I do think we can win if we play our best game. And if we don't, then it's just old hat. Happens all the time. We lose and then they just get to crap on us again for it. But I don't want that to happen. So I don't want any crap.
I think we should start closing the show with this, like every week on top of the, classic Viva la Cats. Wes Miller, shut us up. Shut us up, please. I want you to stop complaining.
Shut us up.
Scott Satterfield, please shut us up. John Cunningham, please shut us up. Somebody shut us up. But until then, we will not stop talking. We will say the quiet part out loud. We will say the loud part out loud because I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it, man. I'm over it. But thank you all for listening to this episode this week. We appreciate it. We appreciate having Cap on, as always, part of the Roll Blob Pod. It was great to have, I guess, now the 5th Crosstown crossover, and we will get back with them at some point, maybe for baseball throughout the season. That'd be great. We can like a biannual get together of the the dueling sides of Cincinnati and Norwood. It's not dueling sides of Cincinnati because they're not part of Cincinnati. Everybody knows that. But thank you all for listening this week. We appreciate it. If you're not already, make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe there. Hit a like. Share us with friends. Add some comments. Whatever you want to do. And keep listening to us. We'll give you something to feel better about all this, hopefully. That's what I got. Thank you to the 1012 Network, as always, providing great coverage of everything Big 12. This is a great week to actually head over there and listen to the title show of the 1012 Network, the 1012 podcast, because got Big 12 championship week, man. There's a lot happening right now. So, Steve, for myself, for you, and for Cap, who was with us earlier, this has been Viva
la Cats. Isn't it interesting that you just can't find Muskie Lager anywhere? Much like you can't find Xavier grads, in leadership and like in.
I haven't been able to find a Final Four banner from them